Hey everybody, it's Lisa Copeland. How are you tonight? Tonight it's time to do my show, Conquer the Shift, and super excited about who my guests are tonight. So you guys know I did this show to kind of help everybody get their mind around a shifting market. And remember, a shift doesn't mean a crash, right? We talked about that last week. A shift can be like a 2 degree, just 2 degrees, a 2 degree shift, okay? But a 2 degree shift can feel like an earthquake if you're not ready for it. And so as I was working through this book that I'm putting together, I've got some very, very dear friends of mine that I worked with in the auto industry. Now, these guys are they're my great friends. They are absolute legends in the car business. I worked with them in the car business. I've consulted with them. Chris Martinez, who you'll meet, he and I did a radio show on iHeart together. He helped me write my last book, Car Buying Her Way. Aaron Sheeks, I think I met Aaron right when he got out of the military. He was a pilot, and I've kind of seen his journey through in the automotive industry. And then Frank Lopes will be joining us in a little bit. And but these guys have made millions and millions of dollars consulting auto dealers on how to go to the next level, how to get through the pandemic, right? The auto industry got hit a lot harder than we did in real estate. So these guys are thought leaders. They're brilliant. Chris has authored many, many books. Frank's written a book. Aaron's going to write a book. We were just talking about that backstage. And so anyways, I'm going to bring them on, and we're just going to kind of talk about what's going on in today's world. If you are watching this right now, you're going to want to share this out. Share it out. Invite your friends on. Tag a realtor that you know in it. They need to be on here. I promise you, if you take notes, you will walk away with something tonight that will help you conquer the shift. All right, so here we go. Let's bring them on. Let's see. Hi, guys.
Hey, Lisa.
How are you?
Great. How you doing?
I'm good. Okay, have you guys shared this out?
I'm sharing it now.
Okay, good. Aaron, did you share it out?
Yes, ma'am. Just did it.
Okay, good. Well, I was just telling everybody out there, how I know you guys. Let's add Frank to the stream. Hi, Frankie. You're on.
Hello. How's everybody doing this evening?
We're doing good. God, I mean, I feel like, like this radio voice has now come on.
I bet Chris sounds a lot better than me, though. I bet he sounds a lot.
I don't know, but I am looking at Chris's hair, and Frank, it is a strong, strong contender tonight.
It is a strong contender. I'm just going to bow down right now. That's it. I'm just going to submit and bow down right now and say to my good friend Chris Martinez, you win the hair battle for today.
Sir, and you are the man, sir.
And Aaron comes in a very, very close second. Very close second.
Aaron's hair is on point.
Exactly.
If I bring up the rear in the hair competition in this group, I will happily take it.
A lot of comments could come from that.
A lot of comments.
Aaron, a lot of comments. We're just going to, I know nobody tuned in tonight to listen to us talk about our hair. That's for sure.
No, you never know. You never know. Okay, but what we are going to talk about, gentlemen, is the fact, and Frankie, you have a show of your own, so I know you were in between one, getting ready for another one, so thanks for coming in. But we're talking about, you guys have been to hell and back the last 2.5 years in the auto industry. Aaron runs a very large software company. Chris runs a large auto group, plus is in the software business, plus is an author. And I told you guys and gals what Chris and I did in the past. We had a show on iHeart, and it was a lot of fun. But Chris also ran the #1 Toyota dealership for a very, very long time. And then Frank, Frankie, you're just a legend. I mean, everybody needs more Frank. Like, let's just be real. But Frank is a 7-figure consultant in the automotive industry. That means he collects millions of dollars a year in fees. And if anybody out there is paying Frank millions, go ahead and throw it into the comments. But that's happening. We know that. These guys are high dollar. They are sharpshooters or snipers. And so I just want to talk about kind of give you, and Aaron, you're at the top, Chris, you're in the middle, and Frank, you're at the bottom. So I'm going to kind of go in that order. Kind of give us what you have seen, a synopsis of the last 2 years. You're going to be talking to a lot of real estate agents. A lot of people are going to be tuning in who maybe in the auto industry, right? You guys are all in the auto industry. Everything I've learned in the auto industry, I'm convinced. So Aaron, why don't you give us a high level for a minute or two? Then we're going to go to Chris and then Frank.
Yeah, sure. So thanks for having me. And I'm going to live on my side of the desk here because I'll let Chris live on the dealer side and Frank plays both sides of the desk. But I think vendor side specifically, we've had to hustle more than you've ever had to hustle before, maybe ever, right? Budgets are tighter. Dealers are spending less money in advertising and cars. If they're working harder to find cars, they're working harder to find people. And there is plenty of opportunity, but you have to be in the right place at the right time to go get it. So if you're not working 10 times harder than the guy next to you, there's just too many people going for the smaller pie these days, and you really had to hustle.
And don't you think, Aaron, a commodity is a commodity, and a house is not as much of a commodity as a car, right? A commodity is defined by something that's manufactured in bulk, or there's 19 red Chevys or whatever that looks like. But at the end of the day, it's still a major purchase for a client. And I think that my friends in the car business, my friends in the real estate business, I think for a few years, I think we had it pretty good. And so it was easy to kind of get lazy and get complacent. I don't think lazy is a fair word, but maybe to get complacent, like, stick a sign in the yard, stick the car on the lot, whatever that looks like. So what are you seeing out there? I mean, you're all over the country. You have dealers all over the country.
I think you're right. I think it is still a commodity. I think it's still a major purchase. And I think that people are willing to spend more money now on a car than they've ever been willing to spend ever before. Because one, they have to, because the market says they have to in inventory, but also because there's a lot of people making a lot of money in this market right now. So I hear you. I believe you. Winter is coming. I think dealers have done a really great job of having really successful years for the last 2 or 3. But I think Chris and Frank will elaborate a little bit more. Like, winter is coming and it is going to get harder.
Okay, so what are you going to tell the real estate folks out there that are watching this? Because you just bought a big new house. I wish it was in Texas, because then I would have been your daughter.
Well, we should clarify. My wife just bought a really big new house. I just work there, and she lets me sleep there occasionally, right? But I think to your point of whether you're selling cars or you're selling real estate, someone's going to be buying and someone is going to be selling. And if you're not have the opportunity maximized to have your name on the line as many times as possible, you are going to lose to someone. If they're not in your same firm, in your same broker, in the same county, they're going to be the next Lisa or someone 2 counties over, or somebody like me that's going to come and take your cookies. You better get after it.
I mean, we are known to take people's cookies. I did it in the car business too. I mean, Chris, you can hardly contain yourself there. So Chris, my good friend, like I said, he ran. Were you guys number 1 in Texas or in the U.S. for Toyota?
So we were number 1 in Austin. There was another dealer, a good friend of ours.
That's right. Right in Houston. Yep.
But once you added our pre-owned inventory, we were like number 2 in the state, and then we were number 10 in the nation. So
yeah, under your leadership, and then after that, now how many stores are you running?
So right now we have 5 franchises here in Tulsa.
In Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yes, it's actually a really great group. I'm super happy with the group that I'm with, and a great group of people.
But if all of you guys knew Chris, like, we just love to tease him because he lives in Oklahoma now. See, it's kind of a thing, y'all, when you live in Texas and you move to Oklahoma. Doesn't matter how big the job is.
Yeah.
All right, Chris. So every time I turn around, you're writing a new book. You're definitely an authority in the automotive industry. You've done what, 5 or 6 books now?
5, like just books on automotive, and 1 children's book. So 6 total books. And
the book in the children's book is about having them grow up to be a car salesman.
Correct. Yes. It was something I wanted to write for my kids.
I love that. I think that's amazing. I think that's a very noble career for all of my car friends out there. So Chris, you are truly a subject matter expert. You and I are working on a couple projects together. What advice do you give, or do you have for the real estate community out there?
I think it's for anybody, right? It's the basics. There was a quote that somebody on TikTok, I think it was, that
boy,
they say TikTok made me do it, right? And the guy talks about, there's a book called The Horse, the Boy, the Fox, and the Mole. And he talks about the boy and the horse are in the woods and having conversation. The boy says, "I can't see my way through." And the horse says, "Well, can you see your next step?" And the boy says, "Yes." And the horse says, "Well, then just take that." And I think all too often, we look at, like forward, like down the road, instead of just looking what's in front of us and just, doing the basics, the blocking and tackling of our industry, of what we're doing.
So if you were writing a real estate book right now, what would you call it?
Today, it would be conquering the shift. I think that would probably be the right one to do.
Gee, good. I'm glad to know I'm onto something there, Chris. You have definitely written more books than I have. And when I was trying to power through that last book, I was like, Chris, help me. You and Glenn Lundy helped me so much. It was like, oh my God. Y'all, it's hard to write a book because anything under Chris and I all have the same editor. And she says anything under 40,000 words, it's an ebook, it's a pamphlet. Like, she really will give you hell about it. And 40,000 words, like when you're trying to put your thoughts together, like I can sit here and I can just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. But when I have to sit down and write, that's a lot of writing.
It is. It's funny because, like the actual content comes easy, right? But then you start, well, how do I get to the details? And the details for me, that's usually the hardest thing, right?
It's painful. It is so painful.
Like the people that can, write those really amazing books like Harry Potter, or those type of books that have so like such fine detail. It's pretty amazing.
The he said, the she said, I know, unbelievable. All right. Well, Frankie, never last, never least, but you happen to be at the bottom of the thread. So Frank, also an author, a consultant, ad guru, absolute marketing genius. What do you have to say about the market? What do you see?
Well, look, I'm just going to be straight. I don't know what everybody else is talking about over here. Like, honestly, I'm just like totally lost over here because the last 2 to 3 years have been the absolute best years of my career. And I understand, I don't live in I don't have rose-colored glasses on all the time, and I'm just not just talking and seeing me. It's definitely been hard out there. It's been hard, but I made the decision years ago, Lisa, if I remember correct, at your kitchen island, right? I made the decision that this was going to be it and that it was going to be a certain way for myself. And I took the process that I put into my book and I re-employed it again in a completely different way and was able to get myself past the 7-figure limit, but I'm not even close to warmed up yet. I'm not even close to done. Pfft, are you kidding me? I'm not even warmed up. I'm still a little chilly over here, and everybody's talking about winter is coming and this and that. If winter's coming, go out and get a coat. Go get a coat. Go do what you've got to do to stay warm if it's going to get cold out there. Just because winter is coming doesn't mean that you need to get frostbite. It doesn't mean that you need to freeze. It doesn't mean that you need to be slow or get slowed down because of the cold. Do what you have to do now. Like right now I'm talking about. Do what you got to do now to make it that if winter does come, you're like, winter, is that it? Is that all you got? That's it, man? I got a scarf. I got a hat. I got a coat. Come on. I thought this was going to be cold. I'm sweating under here. Come on now. Let's go.
So can we go back to that meeting in my kitchen?
Sure.
That we had? And Frankie came over and he spent the night with myself and my husband. Like I always have to tell that part of the story.
You always put the little thing in there about because James is always around, of course.
Yes, exactly. But I'm like, oh, Frank spent the night with me last night. People are like, what?
You hear those two up there giggling. You see, that's why you say that, because those they start giggling.
Anyways, but that being said, in fact, Frank's going to spend the night with me again this weekend.
That's right.
That's right. He and Andrea are coming down, but I digress. So sitting at that table, not only did you make that decision, I ran past you that day. I said, I think I'm going to get into real estate. I think
that's right.
Is what I'm going to do. And you're like, this is what you need to do, Copeland. This is exactly what you need to do. You'll go in and you'll crush it. I mean, I was so fired up by the time I had my sales meeting with Frank in my kitchen and 3 bottles of Prosecco. Like I was ready to take on the world.
And those 3 bottles of Prosecco were only fuel. That's it. They were not motivation. They were just fuel. That's it.
Fuel. They were like rocket fuel. Okay, so
Lisa, let me stop you for a second because I want to add a little something in there that was very, very important. Before we had the conversation at your kitchen island, there was a conversation before that, maybe about a week or so before that, where I was in the car in the parking lot of an Office Depot in Red Bank, New Jersey, where I sat and spoke to you for over an hour and told you real estate is your calling. Real estate is what you do. Okay. It's what you do. It's what your purpose is. You help people with the largest purchase of their life. Okay, for the vast majority of people, their home is the largest purchase of their life. And I told you, get in alignment with your purpose. And I'm sure that there are real estate agents out there right now that hear the winter is coming. Oh my God, rates are going to hit 6, 7, 9, 11, 13, 25%, all this kind of stuff. The Fed's going to raise 100 basis points tomorrow, then 100 the day after that, and 100. And they're like, oh my God, this is hard. You are, as long as you are in alignment with what your purpose is, you are going to find a way to thrive no matter what you do, no matter what the circumstances are. Let the Fed raise rates. Let the interest rates go up to whatever they were. I can remember in Rocky, they made a big deal about somebody getting a 12% mortgage. Okay. I know somebody who can get 12% mortgage, Adrian says. And Rocky's like, yeah, okay. So the whole point of the matter is what the market's going to be, what the market's going to be. You are going to be what you're going to be. You're in control of you. That's all that matters. Everything else is out of your control. Forget about it.
Frank.
Control the controllables. Right, Chris?
Yeah. No, Frank, I was going to say was, at the end of the day, they're going to have to really, hone in on their skills too, because,
yes.
If they're not, investing in themselves and trying to get better and already practicing on the different types of objections that they're going to be handling, then they have something else coming. So if they're not prepared, you should be prepared every day, right? So you should stay ready. You should be coming in, practicing every day.
Chris and I both run car dealerships, and that's something that it was like the daily, right? It's all about, someone's writing, Frank is very funny. Okay, Frankie, you've already got fans on this.
I love it. Who's Denise saying my whole wardrobe is a coat? That's my girl right there. That's right. Your whole wardrobe should be a coat. Be ready for winter.
On my team, and she's a beast. She's a realtor and a developer, and she's amazing.
She's my best friend now.
She's up in Minnesota.
It's cold up there.
It's cold up there. Okay, so we've run these dealerships, and one thing that I think that we got into is that it's very consistent, right? It's like the daily. You're either on Cardone University or any of the other daily online. Every deal was a training deal because Chris and I were out there. We were out there on the floor with our people, and like, hey Lisa, hey Chris, I'm over here with these clients right now. They won't buy a house. We would jump in and we would close the deal, right? It was very hands-on. Like, I don't think people in the car business ever feel like they're going it alone, but I do think people in real estate feel like they're going it alone because they're new, they haven't sold anything in their life, and then they're out there. Now they're getting all these insane objections, and believe me, the objections are getting cray-crayer more by the minute. I just hear some things sometimes, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to write that down. It was absolutely asinine what they said, but I'm going to write it down because it's so dumb. It needs to be in my book because it's so not going to happen. Right. But that's what the media does to us. Right. People are just mired in fear and junk and muck. And anyways, what would you say about that, Chris?
Well, I think that you've got to be prepared because when those objections do happen, you've got to sound like you actually know what you're talking about. You got to sound like you're the authority. You're the product or project matter expert, whatever space you're in. But real estate specifically, I think you need to sound like you know what you're talking about, because if you don't, the seller or the buyer, the person that wants you to list their house is not going to want to go with you.
No, guys, it really is. And then, it's about building confidence. I look at Aaron, and Aaron's launched, I shouldn't say new, but let's just call it a relaunch of a very, very incredible product, the auto miner in the auto. And so, Aaron, how many times are you out talking to people selling this subscription-based product that you have in the automotive space? And people don't even know what it is, and you're just selling air. It's a great product, but they don't even know. But you're selling, and you're putting it on them, and and so like at least when we're out selling houses, that house is sitting in front of us, right? Yeah. We can sell the house. Here's the house. Here's the payment. Here's the this. Talk to us about what it's like selling something that's a little bit of an intangible. If someone's never used the product before, they've never seen the product before, they've never heard of your company, and you're doing it at an incredible record pace.
I don't care what you sell, whether it is in your hand or it is make believe somewhere else. You have to control the conversation. Whether you have to have enough research to have enough information in your brain to control the conversation. You have to have enough emotional intelligence to understand what's the goal of this conversation and why am I having it with this human being, so I can recraft my words to land where I want to land. So I talk all of the time with my team is at the end of this, I want to land with these three things, that they know these three things about me. And whatever the words that happen between here and there, that's what I'm going to say. But it's because I'm prepared and I'm able to control the conversation both physically and emotionally, but also, like Chris said, have the research to be able to talk about it intelligently so that what I do say, they believe.
The skills pay the bills.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me add a little bit, Aaron, if you don't mind, please. And when Aaron says control the conversation, he doesn't mean manipulate the conversation. He doesn't mean like completely take over the conversation. He means making sure that the customer has the bandwidth and has the runway to be able to speak and has the runway to be able to ask questions and give you those silly objections and everything. But you're controlling the conversation because you're ready for it. You're prepared for it. That's the whole point of controlling the conversation. This is something that you do, real estate professionals, right? This is something that you do each and every single day. The average person purchases a new home. Lisa, I don't know the stat. How often is it?
The average person will purchase 9 homes in their lifetime.
Okay, so they'll do this 9 times across their whole life. Okay, if you're good, you're going to do this a minimum of 9 times a month. Okay, so think about the difference in that. That's the difference in controlling the conversation. You let them ask the silly question. You let them ask a question 2, 3, 4, 9, 13 times, right? Let them do it. That's okay. Because of the fact that you're anticipating it, you know it's going to come. That's what control the conversation means. You know it's going to happen, right? You just handle whatever the question is, and you keep the customer on the path towards getting their new home because that's what they want. You know, all the questions and everything, that's because the customer lacks confidence or they lack resources, they lack knowledge, whatever it is. That's where you're controlling the conversation. I want this customer, when they look at this house, to know, say the customer says, oh, I really want to look at 123 Banana Street. Listen, I sound like Tom Ferry right now, right? I want to go see 123 Banana Street, okay? And you're like, 123 Banana Street is so the wrong house for them. But I'm going to control the conversation. I'm going to take them to 123 Banana Street, okay? But my goal is that they go there and they realize that it's not the right house for them. Because when they realize it's not the right house for them, it's off the list and it's gone. And then you can do what? Show them the home that is right for them, right? And then win them over forever. Okay, I've manipulated the conversation enough.
No, it's good. And I'll tell you, like, and I work on that because like, I know what the house is that people should buy. I do. I just instinctively, once I get to know my clients, I'm like, I'm going to show you your new house. Like, I just know it. And then when they're on the wrong house, I'm just like, this is not the right house for you. It's just because I know it instinctively, right? It's not going to, it isn't going to get appreciate the same. I think the payment's going to be too high. I know they're not going to enjoy it. I know they're going to outgrow it. I know the neighborhood stinks. The school's just blah, 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 blah. But to your point, Frank, like you still have to show people all of their options because, you know, people have to see it, right? They got to see it to believe it. But, you know, but I think it is important, you know, when we're out there and so when we talk about controlling the conversation, we're really talking about controlling the narrative. And so, you know, people are just mired in fear right now. You turn on the news and these dumbtards on the news, like, oh my God. I mean, I refuse to watch the news. I won't watch it. I'll come out and James watch the news. I go right back in and turn on Bravo or something, like something that's completely mindless. I don't need to hear the news because all it is the world's biggest spin job, right? So how do you help your people? You know, Aaron, you run a sales team. Chris, you run a sales team. Frank, you run sales teams. How do you tell salespeople to control the narrative when the news may not be the greatest news in the world?
Well, I don't know how they control it right now, but you know what I've been telling the teams that I help oversee is, look, we already know what happened, what it looked like when the world melted, right? We know, you know, March there was a shutdown, the whole entire world stopped. I know exactly how many cars we sold that month. I know that if that's the worst that happens, we're going to be in great shape. So they already know what that looks like. So now it's just, can we get an improvement on that month and how we're going to do better?
Okay. Aaron, what would you say to that?
I like to do it from the inside out, and it's going to sound really cliche, but I roll my sleeves up and I get in the fight. And I think the people on my team, that's the first thing they say is no matter how bad it gets, he's going to be here in the fight. And if he's here in the fight, then I'm here too.
Do you think
So
that has
for
something to do with your military background and your
yeah, it's just who I am. Like, not only am I control freak, so I can't let it go, but it's just true. If I instill the right amount of confidence and I believe in them and do everything I can to help them win and help them succeed, and then I'm also in the chair next to them practicing what I preach. Maybe it's a different conversation, but practicing what I preach, we're going to take care of each other. I don't have no matter what happens, we take care of each other and we'll be successful.
Okay, so can I just ask you a little question about Top Gun here? And I swear I was going to call you. I mean, did you guys ever do those things where you're really up on top of each other and the MiGs and all that stuff? Like,
yeah, really good pilots that fly really cool planes do those types of things. Not me.
No.
I flew like a big hunk of junk that was lucky to like take off and land at the same, in the same day. So yeah, we there's real live guys. My buddy Ryan Williams, he's flying those things today. Real pilots shot those scenes in real life. It is incredible the amount of talent it takes to do that with that machine. But this guy's not capable of it. I promise you. I'm good at a lot of things, but doing that is not on the list.
At least you're able to land that tin can, that big one, huh?
That's it.
My cousin was on one of those. He wasn't the pilot, but he was like the flight. I don't know. I don't know what he did, but he was somewhere up in the front, but he was not a pilot. And he said, we flew bombs, boys, and beans.
That's yeah. I mean, you just try.
I don't know what you're supposed to say to that, Aaron. I have no idea. The beans part just totally threw me.
Well, that's the food. Okay, so I digress. Okay, so so we've got people on here. We've got a lot of hello, Adam Marburger. Of course, he's on here supporting us. So what are you guys going to say? Okay, so we're talking about controlling the narrative, right? Controlling the narrative with our clients. What do you do when a car dealer comes to you and says, "Oh God, the world's coming to an end. We're not selling as many cars. We're going to start cutting the budget." Like, and they're not doing it necessarily because of what's happening today, right? They're still selling cars, but it's fear of the future. And I think that's a little bit what we're seeing with consumers in the real estate industry today. Everything's fine. They all have their jobs. Gas is up. Sure. Food is up. Yeah, but it's all up, right? But that being said, nothing's happened to them yet. Like there hasn't been any consequences yet of any of this. And they're still fearing what could be. So what do you say to people like that? Like, I don't want to discount it, right? Because in the absence of courage, you do it scared. But everyone's got to have a place to live. Everyone's got to have a car to drive. But what advice do you give people who they're watching this right now? And they're thinking, God, next month it's going to be this, and next month it's going to be that. So now I'm frozen. I'm paralyzed. I mean, just give some advice out there.
I'll just go quickly, and then I think Frank will give more about what dealers are doing. But what I've noticed is there's one of two types, especially auto dealers, but probably everyone. And I'll steal a little bit from Glenn Lundy. You're either preparing to survive or you're preparing to thrive. And there is really no in between the two. You're either, I hope to stay in business for the next 18 to 24 months until whatever this is that's coming, whenever it comes, I just hope I can make it out the other side. Or you're putting the gas pedal on the floor and you're absolutely setting up to crush this time period. Mm-hmm. So when you do hit the other side of it, you're already soaring. So I think they're in one bucket or the other right now. They're either tapping out and saying, "Hey, I'm good. I'm done. I've done my time. I'm turning the keys," whatever it may be. Or the good ones are putting the gas pedal on the floor.
All right, Chris, what kind of like overarching, not just, but I'm talking to people in general. You've written 6 books, so there's that. You're good at giving advice, Chris.
No, I think that people we talked about it earlier, they've got to skill up. They've got to get prepared. Because there are going to be some uncertain times right now. Like things are going to shift, things are going to happen, and those leases that you were probably too too busy for. You might have to start doing some leases. You might have to do some other
buyers, like a lot of things that
you're going to have to work with what you have, and you're just going to have to work a little bit harder.
I actually think you're going to have to work a lot harder. And one of the things, because I'm going to save the big one for last with Frank. But I think you've got to work a lot harder. I spend a lot more time now figuring out what's going on in the market, looking at it, studying it every single day, looking at pricing trends. Pricing trends are really, really a big deal right now. Now, where you guys are trending up because of scarcity, right? And we trended up because of scarcity. Now, all of a sudden, the market gets now we have. I just got the report. We have an average of 2 months of houses on the market, right? So what happens? You know, scarcity is down, demand is down. What happens when all that happens? Prices come down, right? And that's, you have to control the narrative too, because then people say, well, where's the bottom? Where's the bottom? I'm going to wait for the bottom. No one knows where the bottom is. If you like the price today, you buy it, because tomorrow it could do that again too. So, you know, Frank, what would you say? Like, you know, with everything that's going on and all this craziness, like, do I buy a car now? Do I buy a house now? Do I put all my money in the bank? Do I sit at home and never spend another dime because I'm worried about this? Like what?
So, number one, I absolutely refuse to fearmonger in any way, shape, or form. I cannot stand anybody's what if. No, let's get all that what if stuff out of the way. I don't know about you all, but my crystal ball broke years ago and I can't get it fixed. So me being able to predict the future or look into the future, I have the exact same ability to do it that everybody else does. You know, it's like that line in Wolf of Wall Street, right? When Matthew McConaughey says, look, nobody from Jimmy Buffett to Warren Buffett knows if the stock is going up or down or anything. It's all fake. It's all just like a fugazi. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. But what we do know is that we can control the controllables. And the number one controllable is us. Okay. And then there's also something that every single one of us that we have to realize, accept, and we have to embrace right now. And it's the fact that if you're running right now, if you can think that you're running, like you're running at a good speed and everything, if you're running, you're actually falling behind. Okay. You have to run faster than everybody else just to keep up. Or you've got to run even faster than that to be able to get ahead. But you can control how fast you run. You can control how much rest you need to get to be able to run at that pace. You can control how long you're going to run. But it all depends. It's you. It's 100% you. Like I said before, rates could be 5.25. In 3 days, they could be 6.25. Okay? They could also be 2.25. Who in the world knows? My crystal ball, friggin' broken. All right. It does not work. I know what the rate is today. And I know that if I buy it today, if I buy a home today, and if the rate goes up, I'm sticking with my rate. If the rate goes down, I'm going to refi that loan like that, like in 2 seconds. I'm going to refi it. Okay. And the price is the price. You want to wait for the bottom to drop out? Okay, keep waiting, because some people are going to hold on to that I want to wait type of thing, like a dog with a bone. You know, they're going to take it, they're going to guard it the exact same way that 123 Banana Street was the wrong house for them, but they wanted to go look at it. And if you didn't take them to go look at it, all they would talk about is 123 Banana Street. The whole time. You could show them the most beautiful house in the world. Oh, well, 123 Banana Street had this beautiful pool. You're like, that pool was 60 years old, lady. What are you talking about, right? You could see in the pictures it was leaking. Come on, what are we doing here? But they're like a dog with a bone. They're going to hold on to it. So you have to control the controllables. You take them there. They see it. Oh, this house is crap. Oh, great. Okay, now let's go look at 143 Monkey Street. It's a much better price, and it's a much better buy for you. Control the controllables. The stuff that you can control, grab a hold of it. You can't control what they're going to say on the news. You can't control what the prices are going to be, and you can't control what the rate's going to be. You can control if you like the house, if you need the house, and you can control everything from that point going forward.
You can't even control if you're going to wake up in the morning. So buy the house already.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And all these things are true, you know, and once you control the conversation, circling all the way back to what Aaron said before, once you control the conversation, the customer understands that what you're saying to them, they're not sharp-tongued, fancy type of closes or something that you read in a book or something like that. It's genuine. When you tell them, hey, look, you could die in the morning. You could die overnight, okay? You know, the rate could go to 7. The rate could go to 2. Who knows? Then they're like, you know what? That really does make sense. You know, they're right. This person is actually helping me. They're guiding me. They're advising me. And God, when you're making a purchase that is that big, like I said, largest purchase of their life, You need somebody to lead and guide and help you. That's really what you're looking for in your agent, the exact same way that's what somebody who's purchasing a vehicle is looking for in a salesperson. Sometimes they're looking for the leadership. Sometimes they're looking for the guidance. Sometimes they want that salesperson to walk behind them, in front of them, alongside of them, whatever it is that they need at that time. You got to be able to control how you walk and where you walk.
Right. And it has to be in, like, I like the walking analogy, but it's got to be in step with what your client needs or your customer needs, right? You don't want to walk in front of them if they want to take the lead, right? So it's almost a dance, whether you're selling houses or you're selling cars or you're selling insurance, you have to learn how to dance with your customer, right? But the customer is the lead when it comes to that.
Always. Yeah. Sometimes, look, and if you're in front of the customer, all you're doing is clearing the way. That's it. You're just making a crooked path straight for them to be able to walk through. And then you're immediately going to fall back and start to walk alongside them again. And then if something comes up where they're like, no, I really want to see 123 Banana Street, you're going to get behind them and you're going to go with them. You're going to let them lead.
123 Banana Street. So when you and your wife are in town this weekend, we are going to go to 123 Banana Street.
I love it. Let's go so I can go and poo-poo on the house and say it's no good.
I literally told this to James. I said the house next door to us just went on the market.
Of course it did.
Andrea, that house. It just went on the market like 3 days ago. So
all right, send me the address. I'll look at it.
Yeah, I'm like, well, the Lopes aren't going to move here, but he likes the great state of Texas better than where he's at. Possibly, maybe I heard that as a rumor. Okay, so as we're kind of wrapping up, what is the big thing? I mean, all of us have been through shifting markets, right? Like in a shift again. I mean, it can be a 2-degree shift, and people are like, oh, it's a landslide. I'm like, no, it's a 2-degree shift. So right, we pivot, we adjust, and we move forward. But what advice are you going to give all the salespeople out there, whether they're in the car business, the real estate industry, the insurance industry? What are you going to say? Like, I'm going to start with Aaron. What is your best advice on helping them conquer the shift? Any shift in any market?
Yeah, I always, my default mode is offense. So I don't care if the market shifted 2 degrees or 10 degrees. I am violently moving 1,000 miles an hour on offense, no matter what. And some people take that as harsh or as brash or as egotistical or whatever that may be. And I don't care. I am authentic in who I am, and I move violently in the offensive direction in everything that I do. So if I'm selling houses, if I'm flipping houses, if I'm doing whatever, I am moving 1,000 times faster than anybody that sits next to me, because that's just who I am and how I'm wired, right? So I think if you're not that person, then my challenge to you is, if you know that you haven't done enough, you haven't done enough. Like, I know I haven't been to the gym enough lately. No one has to tell me. I know. So if you're sitting here and you're watching and you're saying, well, I've worked kind of hard, or, well, yeah, I did send out that mailer or that whatever, and I can't wait for leads to come falling out of the sky and Zillow doesn't take them all from me. Like, if you are not moving 1,000 miles an hour violently in the offensive direction, why are you even playing?
Ooh, good one. Chris.
So 2 things. One, they need to read the book, Who Moved My Cheese?
Oh, it's such a good book.
And they basically need it's time to put your running shoes on, lace them up, tighten them, and get moving. And then the second thing, Grant Cardone says it best: I'd rather fail forward than in retreat.
Yeah. Have I mentioned that Elena Cardone's on my real estate team?
I think it's been about 3 minutes that you haven't mentioned it.
I have said Elena Cardone's name all night. And
no, you haven't. I'm teasing you.
38 minutes. But yes. But she's a beast, right? Like, she is absolute. I mean, you look at this woman, she's a billionaire. Literally, they are billionaires. She's got everything that I shouldn't say she has it. She's earned it. She and Grant have earned every single thing they've got, but they never retreat. They never stop. I mean, never, ever, 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 ever. And I've been to their home. I talk to her every day. Like, they don't stop. She will send me texts. Where are you at? I mean, she's on my team, so she's under me, and she'll ask me where I'm at on my numbers. I'm like, oh my God, like, I have to run just because, I don't want to embarrass myself in front of her when I get the random text. Where are you at? I'm just like, oh my God. But it's good, right? Iron sharpens iron.
Amen.
Not every day I've got Elena Cardone. Like, there is no sloughing when you hang out with that chick. I'll tell you what. Okay, so Chris, that was good. What about you, Frankie?
Don't buy the hype. That's the thing. Don't buy the hype. Realize that whatever it is that the media is saying, they're saying it for a reason. You don't know what the reason is.
It's called clickbait. I mean, you're advertising. You an ad agency.
Look, it's all clickbait. It's all stuff made up by jerks like me to get you to read. It's all stuff that has an agenda behind it. It's all being said, not all. A lot of it's being said because somebody wants it said in a particular way and everything. So just don't buy into it. Don't buy into it and don't buy any of it. And your customers, look, maybe your customers, maybe your shoppers, people who are selling, people who are buying, maybe they are people who do buy into it. That's fine. You just let it roll right off. Let it roll off. Let it go right over you. No problem. And you keep working with nothing but facts. 100% facts. The customer needs to move. The customer needs to sell. The price, the vehicle. We're talking about houses here. The house is going to sell somewhere in this range. You want to list it somewhere in this range. You want to buy this house, you're going to have to come in with an offer that is somewhere around here. When you get financed, it's going to cost you about this much. Facts, facts, facts. Forget the hype, because all the rest of it, to be honest, it's all speculation and it does not matter. Focus 100% on the facts, control the conversation, like Aaron said, and realize sometimes you got to lead, sometimes you follow, and sometimes you're walking side by side with your seller or with your buyer on their journey towards either selling their home or towards purchasing a new one.
And
that's all I got to say.
The advice. I love that, because it's their journey. It's not ours. It's their journey. All right. How do these great people follow you guys? Because so many, I see a bunch of our car friends on here. Becky Chernick's on. Hello, Becky. Sonia's on my real estate team. She is amazing. Hallie's on my team. Rick, Heather, Adam Marburger, of course, out there. Denise. Yeah. Okay. Aaron, how do people follow you?
Aaron Sheeks. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Clubhouse, all of the things. You can also go to theautominer.com. You can find us there, where all of your friends are signing up for the cleanest customer data platform on the planet.
Well, I will send you a bill for that commercial. Okay. Mm-hmm. Chris Martinez, how do we look? Tell us about your books. Tell us what your book is, where they can get your book.
You can go to anywhere on Amazon, anywhere where books are sold, but you can just go to my website, chrisjosephmartinez.com, or you can find me at carsalessuccess.com.
Okay. And they're good books, y'all. I've got every one of them. And I mean, Chris is the master of systems. Like, Chris is very systemized. He's very, I mean, look at his hair. Like, everything's perfect about Chris. His hair, his clothes, his everything. Like, that's Chris. Frankie.
Very simple. Go to the Google machine and type in Frank J. Lopes. That's Lopes with an S, not a Z. You're going to find some other dude who's not as good looking and not as smart as me. So you definitely don't want to follow him, right? Am I right, Aaron, or what?
Preach
it. So Frank Lopes, Lopes. Also, you can find Chris and I at Car Success, right? At carsuccess.com. You can find us over there. And like I said, the Google machine, you can find any of us there.
And Frank, do you have time to tell us real quick about the 777?
Sure. The 7-minute setup. You can buy the book at 7minutesetupbook.com. It is the exact process that I built and that I utilized to bring myself back from bankruptcy, from literally not sleeping on like a friend's couch, not sleeping on a neighbor's couch, but sleeping on my daughter's couch. My own child was doing better in life than I was at that point, and I was able to utilize the process in that book and completely bring myself all the way around. And I'm nowhere near done. I'm not even warmed up. I'm even a little chilly right now. I don't know what's going on, right?
You know what I love, and you should add this somewhere somehow in your little banter, but like, you're the 7-minute setup, but that took you to a 7-figure income.
Yes. Absolutely. And 7's not enough. Seven-figure income. Come on. I'm capable of so much more than that. So much. And so are you. That's why you need the book.
That's it.
And you can send me a bill for that. No problem.
Oh, okay. Absolutely. All right. Well, Frank, I will see you this weekend. Big surprise coming in for next week's show. I got a text from our friend Glenn Lundy to tell me he is going to be in town and he wants to do the show live next Monday night. So Glenn Lundy and I will be doing the show somewhere live together. Next Monday night. I think, you know what I think it was? I think he had FOMO. I think he was just like last week he couldn't get on, and he was scheduled to come on. Then he saw you guys were coming on, and he called me, and he's just like, okay, I'm going to be in town. I'm coming to town to Kalahari because I'm speaking at an event, and I want to meet you, and I want to do your show live with you. I got a lot to say to this real estate community. So all of you guys and gals, you guys know Glenn Lundy from Breakfast to Champions, and he and I will be live together next Monday night. Aaron, Chris, and Frankie, thank you. You know I love you guys, and I appreciate your wisdom. And everybody out there, just be great, right? Just go be great. Don't worry. Don't listen to the naysayers. You got everything inside of you to be great. Good market, bad market, doesn't matter. There's
You see us doing Brady Bunch over here? We're all like pointing and like looking at each other and stuff, right? Chris, you got to look to the side. Well, you got to look. You got to look up there, and you got to look over there so you can look at Lisa, point to her and stuff.
Yeah.
We're such horrible guests. We interrupt, do all this kind of stuff, right? It's so bad.
All of you have your own shows, so it's really hard sometimes to be able to deal with people who have their own show, especially Frank, because like every time I look at Frank, I'm always getting Frank's reliving. He's live and then he's relived.
Exactly.
And he goes, hey, every group's going to listen to everything I have to say, even the pancreatic group.
Everybody's the pancreatic. Horrible. That is so horrible. True. Absolutely true. How I got in the pancreatic cancer group, I have no idea. Right. I know I didn't hit the button on that one, but whatever. All good.
I'm sure that your greatness is, helping. That's a good thing. All right, everybody. Thank you. Go out there, be great. And we'll see you next Monday night live, me and Glenn Lundy. All right, everybody. Bye.